and all that. Once you get out of it, you just learn to appreciate what you have even more, because it was really driven home how quickly I could lose it all. Just due to my own negligence. I had been driving too long and I'd fell asleep behind the wheel. So, I'm always grateful for every opportunity I have to be in the pro wrestling business and to promote the promotions and wrestlers that I work with.
I can definitely tell, Donnie. I mean, it's like you have a good head on your shoulders. I mean, and like I said, and prayers to you for recovering from that accident. And, and I think God was watching you to definitely heal you and, get you the groove and the move like you do, and being the best in wrestling, announcer, backstage interviewer. And the one thing of all, and actually, believe it or not, I've been a fan since like back in the day. And you may beat me up. You may say, Ty, what is wrong with you? But I want to roll this clip because I want you to educate the fans who don't know the whole meaning of this. So let's go pitching. Part one. What is a ringside pitchman, Donnie? If you can preach it up for us.
So a ringside pitchman is just it's just a name I gave to myself. Just kind of something funny. I could say when I introduce myself, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your ringside pitchman, because I'm at ringside and an announcer's job is to be a pitchman, a salesman. So I just kind of rolled all those together. But I mean, it's the job of a ringside pitchman to sell the product, to sell the wrestlers, to give the context on why these wrestlers are in the ring, what's at stake, and what could possibly be the outcome and consequences depending on who wins and who loses. I mean, you're that car salesman in the car lot talking up all your wares, except instead of cars, I'm selling pro wrestling action. And that's just my philosophy that I follow as far as what an announcer's job is. You're a ringside pitchman.
My man, like you I gotta say, since you created it on your own, you should get like a trademark infringement and just get that like for you, because anybody tries to take it, you can get them. So you should try to get that like trademark or something, because I've never heard that before. And you always learn something new on the ropes. And you just taught me something, like, as well as everybody was watching live, man. You really, that's, I never thought of that, like a salesman and doing your thing, man. Hey, man, God bless you for coming up with that, man.
It's so funny how I came up with it. It's like, the name Donnie Harris Jr., or my name, Donnie Harris Jr., it flowed nice. And I'm like, I need something else, just something to kind of throw in there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm at ringside, da 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 da. And I passed by Gary. I have a copy of Gary Michael Capetta's book.
Yeah, legend.
And Memoirs of a Wrestling Pitchman. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Well, I can't use wrestling pitchman. Gary Michael Capetta's used that. So I'm like, well, ringside pitchman. And, and then I was like, okay, that's a good way to encapsulate my philosophy of what my role is in the business. And, I've just used it ever since. And actually, I am working on getting that copyrighted.
My man, like, hey, definitely. And when you do get that copyrighted, blow up your Twitter and Facebook, because that's going to be a big day, man, because you got something going with that, man, because nobody can take that away from you, because, dude, you created it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it feels good. When you just have an idea, and like first time I said, I'm like, oh, are people going to like it, or is it sound silly or anything? But everyone's like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. That makes you feel good. It's like, oh, I came up with something that people like, and I've just, it's just kind of been my moniker ever since.
Now, Donnie, you, of course, you have fans all over the world, generating new fans, and tonight on the ropes is all about you. And for people who don't know about the greatest pitchman in wrestling, which is yourself, what do you want people to learn about you tonight here on Off the Top Rope?
I just hope they get to learn a little about the man behind the pitch, and what motivates me and why I love this business. Really, nothing more, nothing less. And, I just hope that, as a pitch man, it's my job to be an extension of the audience. Like, I'm them in the world of pro wrestling. Not everybody can be, a pro wrestler, but, anybody that has the gumption can be like, okay, I could see myself doing that. So it's my job to relate to them and them relate to me. I'm the liaison, for lack of a better term. So, I just want them to, I just hope people that, can kind of see wrestling the way I see it and go, okay, he's a good guy. You know, he speaks what I feel. In other words, I think that's what every announcer should do, is speak what the fans feel. Or if they, if they're kind of on the fence about what they, might should think, you through your commentary or announcing, give them suggestions.
Don, you brought up a good point too, because of course you had the wrestlers in the ring, you have the referee, the announcers, and you being, the ringside pitchman. And I'm sure you realize it now, being in the business for as long as you have, is that you add a lot to the whole product for the fans as well, because your voice pretty much paints the story, what's going to happen in the ring. So the fans, you like you said, you have a big responsibility to them as well. I mean, you're as big as a part of the show just as well as much of the talent is.
Yes, I try to never, I try to never, or nor do I think I do, overshadow any wrestlers in the ring. People often make a comment about my wardrobe, and I like wearing flashy things, but in my mind, I'm that bright neon sign that grabs your attention on what the product is, and then when I have your attention, I direct it to what your attention should be on, kind of like a traffic director, if you will.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm sure about in wrestling is that I've heard a lot of talent say that you never stop learning. It's kind of like with wrestling, you learn on the job. And have you ever had that moment where you did a really awesome job, being the greatest wrestling pitchman ever? Did you ever have somebody pull you aside and say, Donnie, that was awesome, and like after they said that to you, you just took that confidence and just like never looked back? Have you ever had like a situation like that?
Yes, several times. The one that probably sticks out the most was, my first night with CCW. I was brought in. I was no one knew who I was or anything, and I've got my little suit on. I think I had a purple necktie with a purple handkerchief, black suit, and I came out and I did all the introductions and all that, and afterwards the promoter, powers that be in CCW, are like, I know, good job, kid. We like what you did out there, and you got a place here. And then they handed me my pay, and really that's what really made me feel good, is like, oh my God, I now do something that people value enough that I'm getting paid. It's like, I'm not a volunteer. I'm not doing this as a student. I'm an actual professional in pro wrestling, because now I have this little envelope with money in it, and I'm paid. And that first night, that first time getting that envelope, and the words of encouragement from the promoter of CCW as well as the wrestlers in the back, just really gave me my first real boost of confidence. Like, okay, I've got a place here. I belong.
Now, I'm sure I'm pretty damn sure, because tonight is damn good here on Off the Top Rope, you are paving the way for the next, Donnie Harris Jrs., but there's only one, so they can't be you. It ain't happening. But for someone who wants to be, in that category, as being a wrestling, pitchman, and they came to you and asked you for advice, like, what would you tell them about this is what you need to do to succeed in this business?
Some of the best advice I could ever give, and it's so off the cuff, it's actually some advice that my stepfather, Donnie Waldrop, who's a very successful businessman in his own right, gave me, was business cards. Yeah. Business, and in today's social media, we have pictures, we have links, and all that's good, but it's not tangible, it's not physical. You can't interact with it. Yeah. Business cards. I took his advice, and I bought some business cards from Visa Print, found a picture I liked, slapped it on it, threw my information on the other side. And I have gotten so many gigs and callbacks because of those business cards. As a matter of fact, I did some fill-in work with the Jacksonville Giants semi-pro team out of Jacksonville. I was filling in for their regular guy when he couldn't make it. And a lot of that was because I gave them a business card, as well as, a little, some people went to bat for me behind the scenes, but it went with that business card. So that's some of the best advice I could give, business cards, even in today's world and effort. Because, people grab it, they put it in their pocket. They might forget to go to your Facebook page or go to your Twitter, but when they get that card, they stick in their wallet, they stick in their pocket or whatever. sooner or later, they're going to have to go through their pockets. They're going to go for their wallet. They're going to see that, and they're going to remember you again. So that would be some of the best advice I could give, is business cards. Matter of fact, in Pavo, Georgia, I think I forget the name of the promotion, but a guy named JB Stevens, that's the advice I gave him. He's a good ring announcer over there. And he texted me on Twitter a little while back and said, thanks for your advice, man. I've gotten some jobs because of that. So yes, as mundane as it may sound, business cards.
Man, you're actually giving me a well through, straight up sizzling education, because even myself and everybody watching the show live probably can agree is that, like you said, social media has taken over so much that people have forgotten about business cards. And I think myself, I need to go get my butt on Vistaprint, Vistaprint, peace, give y'all all the love. But I need to go back to that route too, because like you said, it happens in a positive way, not only in wrestling, but any business, like you said. So yeah, I got to start going back into the business card train, because I totally forgot about that. I made that mistake.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you're not going to break the bank. It's a very small investment. Anywhere you go to get business cards, it's nothing too expensive, but it puts you that much higher above some of your competition, because not everybody has business cards.
Exactly. We're talking about business cards. I mean, Donnie Harris Jr., he's talking about what it takes to get into wrestling. And, those things are damn good. And that's why Off the Top Rope tonight is damn good Friday night with, of course, he is from Coastal Wrestling Federation, Continental Championship Wrestling, of course. He is live tonight, Donnie Harris Jr., like I said, ring announcer, but he's the one and only pitchman. So if you want to comment, ask him a question, I'll be more than happy to read it on the air here on Off the Top Rope Friday night. We are prime time as well. Now, Donnie, I can't dress as good as you. I'm trying. I'm not going to win that. So, because you look at snazzy as well. And that attire that you has, people take notice. When people take notice in wrestling, I got to ask you about this. Now, of course, I had to leave us looking fly with their player. So here on Twitter Take, how, in your opinion, how hard can it be in wrestling for talent to come up with like wardrobe ideas? I mean, because you want something to fit like who you are, and you look at snazzy there, man. Like, how was it like for you to get your outfit together?
Well, it was pretty simple. The outfit you see there, I've got the Mark Henry jacket, and with Hawaii, with the white pants, the Hawaiian shirt is, I'm in Florida and it's real hot in Florida. So, that particular outfit, it was just like, okay, well, I like wearing Hawaiian shirts. It's like, oh, this is a nice little contrast, and I just put it together because it still was me, but it adapted to my environment. That I really can't explain it, how I put a suit together. It's like I kind of just find a jacket design that I like, and then I'm like, okay, this shirt goes with it, this pair of boots goes with it, this necktie will work, and then it just kind of all falls into place after that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, when I first started to get my research together, learn more about you before you came onto the program, I was like, man, it's just like I said, first and foremost, I saw all your resume, everything you've done in wrestling. Was like, man, he got the wardrobe going on, and fans see that and they know who you are. But like you said, you don't want to take the action away from the talent on yourself, and that's a real smart way to be in wrestling. And I really appreciate you saying that. And like you said, giving the talent their time to shine in the ring as well. But like I said, man, keep the outfits going, man, because I love them, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I went to a seminar that Mikey Whipwreck and Jerry Lynn put on. I want to say it was sometime last year, and a lot of it was, a lot of them were educating the wrestlers and all that. And I'm sitting there taking notes, just learning anything I can. But I will never forget what Mikey Whipwreck said, and that was, you need to stand out. Mikey Whipwreck, early in his career, he wore the Dungeons and Dragons shirts and all that. He stood out. He got notice. And, me just kind of embracing my love for, garish clothing is just, one of the ways I stand out from other ring announcers. And I mean, it's a look. People might not remember the name Donnie Harris Jr., but they'll remember, oh yeah, it was that little guy with in the bright colors and the fancy boots. It's just a little something I do, and God bless them. The promoters I work for, at very least, tolerate it. Although I have been ragged more times than I can count. Oh my God, you stole that. You stole that from my grandma's couch, or what diner did you steal those curtains from and make a jacket out of? So I mean, I've gotten my fair share of good-natured hazing for it, but it's all in fun.
It's all about, like I said, we talked about it earlier on the top of the show. It's all about fun. Like I said, tomorrow is not promised. Have fun and just love what you do, and God is good, and that's what I tell everybody. Now, you have your backstage interviewer, announcer, number one and only pitchman. If you look at all those categories in which you do, what if you had to maybe go from 1, 2, and 3, which one would be like the hardest in order, and how would you is there a way to prepare for all of them individually, or is it the same way?
The hardest, well, the easiest for me is, because it was where I started, was ring announcing. And just because that was the easiest. Backstage interviewing isn't too hard. Can be hard if you don't know what you're doing, but you're with someone else. You've got someone to feed off of and go back on. The hardest easily is commentary, because as a ring announcer, it's very straightforward. I have the name, the weight, the hometown, and any special stipulations. I say those things in an announcer's voice, and then I get out of the way so the wrestlers can work the magic. Commentary is very hard, because it's constant, and you got to know the background. You've got to know what's going on, what happened before. So that's the hardest, because you've got to get all your notes together. You got to make sure you're prepared. And, God bless the management of CCW. When I first asked, could I start doing that? They've really given me a chance to grow. They paired me off with my broadcast partner, Jimmy Rosendorf, who had a little bit of history. He was a sports writer. And, just me working with someone else who was still kind of new to the game, I wasn't intimidated. He wasn't intimidated. And I've been able to learn with him. And I think, we've kind of become a pretty good team. He handles the play-by-play. I take care of the color. And I may be going off a little there, but easily commentary is the hardest. All you see is the commentator sitting down on AEW or WWE, and, they're talking. And you think, oh, I could do that. And, maybe there's a few that can. But I can remember the first time I sat down, and I'm like, wow, what do I say? And you're like, Jimmy's going, oh my God, that's the Tennessee Turk and Turn. And I'm like, wow, what a maneuver. So, just doing your homework, making sure to say the right things. And since you're working with someone else, knowing when to shut up and let them go, and knowing when they're fixing to stop and you to come in. When we're in commentary, it's Jimmy's show. Jimmy's the lead play-by-play. It's my job to, kind of jump in at times when the action is slowed down and give context about what's going on. I do call a few moves and all that too. Jimmy's gracious enough to let me do a little bit of that, but you got to work in tandem with the other person, and that can be hard. Like if you're sitting down together for the first time. But yeah, it's a roundabout way. Or I know we took a long route there, but yes, backstage, to rephrase, backstage interviewer, probably the easiest, because it's just the wrestler and the cameraman. You can do multiple takes. You're working with someone. Second hardest would be ring announcing, just because you do have to talk in front of people, which even now I still get nervous doing that. Got to make sure all your notes. But easily the hardest is commentary, for the reasons I just mentioned.
It sounds like when you're doing commentating, it's like they say in radio, like you never want. I would think fans don't want no dead air. They don't want the commentators being quiet. Like you said, it's consistent. You have to keep it going. So because fans may be like, what's going on? They sleep or whatever. So, but I'm sure you probably take notes on what WWE is doing. And one thing AEW I think is doing really well. They have starting to have like 4 commentators: JR, Shivani, Taz, and Jericho, Excalibur. And I would think that's hard to pull off. Having 4 people on
Oh, I
one.
can't imagine. I can't imagine doing a 4-man booth. I think, and in my limited experience so far, I think 2 is the magic number. I think having a third guest commentator every now and then is good. For whatever reason, for a match or two, but I really think 2 is the magic number. AEW seems to kind of get away with doing 3 or 4, and it still sounds good because I grew up on JR, so he can do no wrong in my life. Yeah, I also grew up a little bit on Tony Schiavone, so I like him. And Excalibur, I didn't know about Excalibur prior to AEW, but I like what he does. I love his encyclopedic knowledge of stuff, and I feel like I'm learning every time I talk to him. So I'm learning a lot listening to the AEW commentary team, as well as like OVW. I'm a big fan of their commentary team, and Memphis Wrestling. Shout out both those. You can find them on YouTube. I listen to them several times and I'm taking notes and all that, and like how I can get better.
Exactly. And when you work for 2 really, really cool organizations, I mean, we're talking about Coastal Wrestling Federation, Continental Championship Wrestling, and I'm sure they're probably doing it a different way. And you're around at 24/7 when you're working for them. Is between the both promotions, how do they embrace fans when it comes to their product? I mean, because some they may do it differently, but like when you look at them, how do they do that, embracing the fans? Because the fans, they want to come back for more.
I mean, they both do it the same. They both do it the same way as far as embracing the fans. They put on a product that the fans can enjoy. And they let you know where you can find your wrestlers. We always make sure both promotions always make sure that there's plenty of merchandise that the fans can buy. I try to, if schedule permits, before the show opens, I try to go around and talk to the fans. Just, hey, how's it going? My name's Donnie. Thank you for coming. You've been here before. Once again, we go back to that liaison thing. So, that's pretty much how we do it. If I could sum up, how we embrace the fans, it'd be cool one day to maybe do like a fan club or something, if those things are still a thing, for like a CCW fan club or CWF fan club. But, we just always make sure that, the fans leave happy, or at least we try to make sure the fans leave happy and give them a product they want to come back to again. And we try to keep the fans very well informed. CWF keeps a blog about what's happened in past events, and CCW, we have CCW Surge, where me and Jimmy hosted. It's a recap and review show of everything going on in CCW. That way, like Ty, had you not ever been to a CCW show and you didn't know what's going on, you can watch episodes of CCW Surge, and we get you all caught up. That way, when you come to the show, you know who our wrestlers are and what they're fighting for.
Exactly. Like I said, well said. And they are doing, these 2 promotions are doing great things, and even me, myself included, I want to get more familiar with, of course, both of these promotions, because, like I said, the reason why we're all here tonight is we're all wrestling fans first and foremost. And of course, like I said, Donnie, we're gonna roll with talk about these 2 wonderful promotions. So you see how they definitely have been great to the fans. Now, how have they been great to you? Like, what have they taught you about being the one and the only pitchman? Like, what have they taught you?
Work ethic, respect, and organization. Oh my God, organization. If I could sum it up in one word, organization, being on time, helping out any way you can, and just realizing that what you do in front of the camera is just a part of it. For CWF, I try to help behind the scenes any way I can. CCW, I've submitted ideas and all that on things we can do. Some of those ideas have actually been used. I was always proud of that. But and that, to go back on what you were saying earlier, never stop learning. There are new things I learn each and every time I do either a show for the CWF or CCW, and I just continue to grow as a person in this business because of those lessons. But yeah, definitely going back is organization, having your stuff together. Like one of the simplest things I learned, I'll never forget. I want to say it was like my first or second show, and I'm doing my necktie in the mirror, and I couldn't get my pocket square in quite right. And one of the guys goes, "Oh, well, they've got these certain type of pocket squares that just the top sticks out and it goes great in your pocket." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I invested in one of those immediately. So small things that you would never even think about. Always carry a pen. Always know where the Dollar General is in case you need more note cards. Just little mundane things that no one outside the business would even think about. Is just some of the stuff I've learned. The right type of suitcase to have. Always make sure you have a suitcase with wheels, because you're gonna be tired at the end of the night and you ain't gonna be lugging luggage. You're gonna want a suitcase that has wheels. I've also learned don't bother with hangers. I put my suit in the suitcase. I never hang my suit in the locker room. I open up my suitcase. It's right there. I pull it out. Put my street clothes back in there, close it up. It's less clutter and it's less space that's taken up, so the wrestlers have more room in the locker room. It's just simple little things like that that I've learned, under the learning tree, if you will, of these two organizations. Just small little things. How to properly control my voice, because I have a bad habit on occasion of, I guess just for a little guy, I've got a big voice, is like I'll yell way too loud into the microphone, and what I'm saying is just fine, but all the fans hear wonk 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 like an adult on Charlie Brown. They always taught me, like, keep the microphone down low if you're going to speak that loud, Donnie. I still struggle with it on occasion now, because I'll get so into it and I'll go off the rails. So just little things like that, along with big lessons about just respect and trying to be a team player and team member. Things that really, you learn in any work environment, ironically.
Exactly. And it seems like wrestling is the business where you don't want to burn bridges, network as much as you can. And like you said, too, just work hard, eyes open, ears open. And of course, I'm sure, like you just said, for promoters, promote a show near a convenience store so you can get notes and pens and all that stuff, like you said, to be prepared. So that's a go. I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, man, it's always the little things you never think about that I've learned to think about.
Yeah. Now, Donnie, when everybody comes off the top rope, I got to stump you. This is your first time on the show. So I'm going to take you to the next segment of the show, where it's a question you got to put the thinking cap on, and we'll see how it goes. You ready for the next segment?
Yeah, man, let's go.
All right.
Damn, Ty. That's good.
The question, of course, is that I have a pitch for you. Now, you have, of course, wrestling announcer, interviewer, and pitchman. Now, come up, if you can, with a new wrestling-related on-air position that can be beneficial to a promotion, something that you think can be done but has never been done before.
Oh, God. Whew. You didn't pull no punches with that one. So a new position that has probably never been done before in pro wrestling.
Yeah, like an on-air capacity that a promotion could use.
Okay. Okay, here's one for you. Occasionally we do have the hearing impaired fans that come to shows. It probably would be a good idea to have I don't know what the correct term is, but someone that could speak language, to somewhere visible. And when I'm doing my introductions, that person could, do the sign language introductions for fans who might be hearing impaired. That way, they would know who the various wrestlers are.
It's a real good answer, like I said, too. And like I said, I mean, because like I said, if you have somebody's hearing impaired, they love wrestling just like us. And I mean, and they want to enjoy the product too, just like us. So, and that's a very well put answer. And of course, Donnie Harris Jr. being damn good as he is, you get an A++++ for your answer. So you definitely passed the segment there. So now, Donnie, you talked about it as soon as we came on air. You have lots coming up. I mean, we of course, Continental Championship Wrestling has some stuff going on. Coastal, they have something going on, and you actually are busy tomorrow. So I made this clip for you and slam and promote because, like I said, I saw Adrenaline, wrestling. They got Chapter 2. They got that, of course, going on, which is tomorrow. Continental, they have Wrestle Bash, which is next month. So promote away, man. Like I said, what should people look forward to with these events?
Oh, yes, man. Oh, yeah, man. So Adrenaline Wrestling, coming up this Saturday, I will be stepping in for the regular ring announcer, filling in for that. This is their second show ever. They are already, the talk of the town in the Ocala area, if you will. Really looking forward to pitching in, if you will, and just helping them and being the narrator, if you will, of Chapter 2. Wrestle Bash, that's August 27th. That is CCW's biggest event, and you see the match aired right there. That is going to be the Violent Gentleman Miles Blackwell going one-on-one with the Southern States champion, the Machine Bryce Maddox. Way back in Stampede January of this year, Miles Blackwell stole the Southern States belt from Machine Bryce Maddox. We should specify Miles holds the physical title, but he is not the CCW champ. Southern States champion, possession not being 9/10 of the law here in CCW, but it will be at Wrestle Bash 31. Bryce Maddox finally gets his chance to get his hands on Miles Blackwell and hopefully get his belt back that should never have been stolen to begin with. And, Adrenaline Wrestling Chapter 2, can't wait for that tomorrow. Got my note cards and all that ready. And, thanks, man, for letting me come on here and pitch them.
My man, like I said, hey, you got to slam and promote. And that's the way we do it here on Off the Top Rope. And the most important thing here on Off the Top Rope, and I ask my guests all the time, and I got to ask the one, the only. I call him damn good Donnie Harris Jr. From 1 to 10, would you ever come back on Off the Top Rope again and party it up with Ty Asbury?
Oh, dude, a solid 10. Anytime you want me, just shoot a message. I'll be more than happy to oblige.
Now, I want to hear it. The fans want to hear it. If you can, and because I know you're itching to do it. Can you give us a kind of a pitchman ending to end out the ropes tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this episode and viewing in for sorry, man, I tripped up there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Off the Top Rope with my boy, Ty Asbury, presented by Six Pack Coverage. We want to thank you all for watching, viewing, and turning in. We hope that you have given you a damn good Friday night. Be sure to check back next Friday night at 8 o'clock for more mat grinding, pile driving, high-flying wrestling action as only Six Pack Coverage and Off the Top Rope with Ty Asbury can provide. Ty, thank you for having me.
That right there is how you do it. Like I said, Donnie, most importantly, man, I'm proud of you. You are the man. God bless. And you always got a home here on Off the Top Rope. My brother, have a great time at the show tomorrow. Donnie Harris Jr., the one and only pitchman in wrestling.
All right.
On the ropes tonight. Donnie, my man. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Thanks for having me, Ty. Look forward to coming on again sometime.
Thank you, my brother. This is your boy, Ty Asbury. Everybody have a great Friday night, great weekend. Love yourselves. God bless. We're out of here. Peace out.
The Ropes Media. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Every chance you get to hear us, some clips. It's the time on the radio. My opinion's my opinion. Every time you hear me, down moving out, like on the stereo. Every last live. You know the feeling. This is the time for me to speak. You know the healing. I'm telling the truth and everything I say in this moment. But my time, I guarantee there is no